Howard with Ashley Howard Teaches, and we are on CC Cycle 1, Week 16, 5th edition. So I'm so glad you joined us today. So if you are like me, you love to include Valentine's things as these weeks come up to Valentine's. So what I love, I picked up at the Dollar Tree these conversation hearts, and these are perfect for geography time. So what I will do is give out 4 to each student because there's 4 locations today for our geography. So then we will go through and place those on each location. I also have a geography song for this week, a geography tune really. So let's listen to that. So we'll go Congo River, Lake Victoria, Zambezi River, Orange River. So you'll go through and sing that a couple times. You'll have your conversation hearts to put on your geography locations. So it'll be a fun time for all. So let's move on to science. So this week for science, we are doing volcanoes. So let's get started on those. So for our hand motions, we'll go like this. 4 kinds of volcanoes. What do you think? And then for active, we'll go like this, active. And then for intermittent, we'll go like this. And then for dormant, we're gonna go like this. And then for extinct, we're gonna go like this. So it will go like this when you are all done. 4 kinds of volcanoes, what do you think? Active, intermittent, dormant, extinct. And you'll go through that a couple times, and they love doing the hand motions. I also like to print out volcano pictures from CC Connected so I can have the different types on my board. That just makes it more fun too. So I also love for that week, just for my own personal kids, so that we can do how do you make a volcano at home. And so we do the baking soda and vinegar experiment to bring as a presentation, and we can talk about the different kind of volcanoes. It's a really good way to tie in to that week just for yourself. So that's just an extra little tidbit. Let's move on to English. Okay, so for our helping verbs, so last week we did do, does, did, and I wanted to show you those real quick so that you knew if you wanted to continue with this song, what it looked like. So we went do, does, did, like that. And then for this week, for our helping verbs, we have has, have, had. So for those hand motions, we will go like this. Has, like this, across our body. Then have, like we're giving a present. And then had, like it's something in the past. So we'll go like this. We'll go, first the song will go like this. Do, does, did, has, have, had. Okay, so that is our hand motions for our English this week. So short and sweet. So how do you fit that in? What do you do to make that fun? I have them sing the song. We'll go really slowly at first, and then we'll try to get faster and faster. So we'll do our hand motions, and then I'll have someone point out to them and say, would you like to try for us and show us how to do it? And then we'll have different students try because it's a real simple one, so they can really master this easily in class. So that's something fun to do. It's also fun to whisper it. And okay, each time we're gonna get a little bit louder. And by the end, they're screaming and you're trying to quiet them. So it's really fun. I also like to have little shakers sometimes. I'll bring out my shakers and we'll shake to them and we'll do them like this. So that's kind of a fun way to integrate some fun into it as well. So let's move on to Latin. So for Latin this week, we are doing our first declension noun endings. So I really want them to know with these Latin noun endings, the very first one the most, because as they go through for memory master and later on, if they knew that first one, then they can remember that tune. They can go all the way through usually. It's usually the hang up on which one was that. Was that the first declension? Was that a fourth declension? So they really know those first ones. So I always tell you, emphasize that first one. Ah is the first one for first declensions. So I'll open my mouth really wide and we'll say ah, and let's remember that's what our first declension noun endings start with, and we'll go through. So for some hands-on fun for Latin, I like to give each student 2 of these pipe cleaners. So these are kind of fun, so they can use them any way they want. So at first I'll say, okay, first I'm going to choose, and we're going to do our Latin, and we're going to use them as rhythm sticks. So we'll go ah and we'll go through our different Latin declensions like this. And then the next I'll say, okay, pick a really easy shape and let's do this. So we might do, and I'll give them ideas because usually they might come up with really hard ideas. And so I'll say, okay, let's make them a balloon and we'll fly them to the sky and say them. And so we'll go through and say those different Latin declensions. There's so many different ones. We can twist them to bring together and pretend like they are a bird flying in the sky like this, or they could be a boat in the water and going like this. Something really simple and easy, but it just kind of brings something new out. I know that sometimes when we tutor, that it's hard to find new things, that we kind of get stuck in a rut with whatever's in our box. So I just like to fill out new things that are colorful and fun and get them excited. So let's move on to history. Before we start history today, would you hit that subscribe button? I can't wait to share with you more homeschooling mom tips and more CC tutoring tips. I just love to hear from y'all too. So comment below, what would you love to see this next video on? I would love to hear from you. I love doing tutor planning videos, but I also love to bring you new things for homeschooling. So if you have a topic that you would love to have a video on, I would love to share that with you. So let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much. So for history this week, we have a great fun song with a fun tune. This is a really catchy one, so I love this one, especially for the younger kids. They love it. So for Olmecs, we're gonna make a giant O like this. And for Mayans, we're gonna make an M. So for Aztecs, we're going to make a giant A like this. So we'll go Olmecs, Mayans, Aztecs, like that. So for 3, we're going to put 3 fingers out. And then for advanced, we know they're super high up. They know what they're doing. So we're going to go on our tippy toes and reach as high as we can for advanced. And then for civilizations, we're going to look out at the civilization and we're going to go like this all the way around. And then for Mesoamerica, we're gonna pretend like we are jumping rope. So guys, the song is fast. So for the dates, instead of having them put their fingers up for 12 and the different dates that we have here, I'm just gonna have them step out to their left for one, way out, and then to the right, way out. That way we don't get too caught up in putting our fingers up for numbers because this song is fast. And then again for Olmecs, Mayans, and the Aztecs, we'll do the same hand motions as before. So we'll go Olmecs, Mayans, and then Aztecs, a giant A at the very top. So our history is fun this week. It goes super fast. So after we've done it a couple times with our hand motions, I like to bring out some hula hoops and jump ropes. Now your class might not have a room for this, so that's okay. I have another plan for you. But if you do have this space, this is kind of a fun one. So if you have some jump ropes laying around, what's fun is to have one child, they'll kind of shake the rope on the ground and the other person jumps back and forth while they say the history song, and they say it together. So you might have 6 kids in the class and you have 3 of them holding a jump rope, pretending like it's a snake, and then the other ones are jumping over, all while everyone is singing. And then they switch, so they can go back and forth. So they really giggle with this one. They think it's fun, and so I love to see the joy on their faces. So that's kind of a fun one to kind of break things up. Now, if you don't have a lot of room in your class, which I know that's the same with a lot of people, what you can do is bring out some Legos. And so I love to bring out the Lego. It's fun for them. They can build a tower as tall as they can while they sing the history song and show how like their advanced civilization that they're making. So I have them, okay, we're gonna sing the song and we're gonna build a tower as high as we can. I give each child a few Legos so that they can build their tower. So that's kind of a fun way if you don't have a lot of room in your class and you can't move around a lot, or it's kind of crazy in your class and you just need everybody to be calm for a minute. That's always a fun one to do. So let's move on to math. So I love when we start the geometry week because there is an awesome song online, and I will link it down below so that you have that. It's called the Geometry Song, and I use this every year. I mean every year. So look for that. I don't want to take their tune because they worked really hard with that. So look for that below. But what I love to do in my class is I get blue tape and I make a giant shape of whatever week it is. So for rectangle week, we'll put a giant rectangle on it, and I'll have them walk around the rectangle while they sing their area of a rectangle, and I'll have them hop on the lines. I'll have them stand behind the line and then jump back in and jump back out. So all while we have this giant rectangle, so it fits so perfectly, and I love that. So then our hand motions for this week, we're going to do the area of a rectangle. So for our rectangle, we're gonna jump way out like this, and then for equals, we're going to go like this. And then for length, we're gonna make a giant L like this. and then our times, and then our middle of us is the middle of our W, so we'll go like this. So that's a fun one. They can do that a couple times. They really learn it that way. Very good with the hand motions. And then we'll do our kind of fun things with our rectangle. So that's a fun way to do our math for this week. So let's move on to review. So there are so many fun weeks. Now some people are going to be on Valentine's week when they do this one, some people not. So I wanted to give different ideas. And I'll go through them really quick. So last week I said you can do Valentine's bingo. I found this one, I think at Target or Walmart in the like $2 section. So really easy, real simple. Just play bingo, ask them questions as they go along. They love it. You can have a little candy jar and they have so much fun with that. I also love to do Jeopardy on the whiteboard, and it's so simple. All you have to do is cut out some foam hearts or some construction hearts, put the little lines like 100, 200, 300 points, or you might even just do single digits and they can practice adding the points while they go along. And then you have different subjects that you review as you go along. So they may say Latin for 100, and underneath they'll have the points. So what I like to do is hide the points, and so when you pull off the heart, you don't know how many points you're gonna get. And some of them have plus, most of them have plus, because those kids get so sad when you have subtraction signs and they have to take away points. So I want to keep them encouraged. So I might have 1 or 2 or 3 minus points, but most of them are plus, and they get to play Jeopardy as they go along. So that's a fun one too to do for review. Now maybe you're past Valentine's Day when you see this video. So what we can do for that is I love to play Jenga. Now I've seen so many people do this, so this is not a novel idea. I've just seen this done so well and so much fun. And you get just a thing of Jenga really cheap at the store, and you write the different subjects on there, and they pull it out, and whatever subject they pull out, they do for that week. So they do review for each of the weeks, and some of people are really good and really creative, and they write each cycle question on each Jenga one. So you can either do that, which is super advanced, or you can just write the subjects, and as they pull out the subjects, you just pick the week. So this week for Fine Arts, we're doing Dur. So that one was hard for me to look at and read because it looks so different with the accent marks. But whenever you look at the phonological example of it, it says Dur. So I'm pretty sure that's pronounced right. But let me know in the comments below if it's not. So what I love about this is they're going to make a wood block. So they get to make what the artist made, and that is so neat to me. So Dur was all about wood making. That was what he was famous for. He was quite a famous artist in the Renaissance period. Some would argue one of the most famous artists in the Renaissance period. So he spent a lot of time as an apprentice in his father's shop. So that's something cool about him, that he was a hard worker, that he loved to work with wood, and this is what they get to do in class. So what they'll do is they're going to get a block of wood, and they're going to hammer this design into their wood and get to paint it as well. So this is a really fun one. So I love how this great art book, great artist book details his life, and they give good examples. I always like to go through and highlight the sentences that I think are interesting because some of it can get a little bit dull after a little while. So I like to find the really fun points. I also like to go beforehand and research some information about him that's interesting. And if at all possible, if I have examples of his work that I can show, that's always fun too. So that's our Fine Arts for this week. So for Hands-on Science, so there's 2 experiments, and that might excite you because you think I'll fill up all my science time. But they are so short. So just be ready for that. Be prepared. So I know there's some great websites where they match up the weeks for Lou Giglio's and his science devotionals and the week for the science. So that is so good. And if you want, if you comment below, I can tell you where to find that page because that is so helpful for each week to have the devotional. So I love if I know that I have a lot of time that might be left over. I love to pull out this devotional and we are able to pray together and we're able to read the devotional. And usually it'll match up with that week of science, and you'll find one that matches perfectly with that science week. And so that's a great way to make your time useful. Also, what's great is you can never ask too many questions to these kids. So come up with lists of questions beforehand. So for the balloon one, what is tension? Where have you seen examples of tension? Can you think of just different qualities of tension? How can you think of different examples? So there's so many questions you can ask. And then for spurt, we're talking about ways magma moves, and that's a great one. You can ask questions, what is magma? What is lava? What is a volcano? What do you know about it? What are more things you would like to know about it? And different things like that. Who created a volcano? All great questions. And then you can say, do you have any questions to ask? So those are great ways, and it gets their mind mind ready for challenge, for essentials, asking those great questions is a great quality of CC that I love. So that is a great one to kind of end out that science time and for everybody to learn so much together. So that is the end of Hands-on Science. I hope you enjoyed week 16. It was so fun to get to share these ideas with you. Don't forget that I have some coffee mugs available and some other fun stuff in my Etsy store. It's linked below. I also love to share homeschooling tips and tricks. So if you want to see on my website on AshleyHowardTeaches.com, you'll see a link to get Homeschool Consultation. So don't forget to check that out, and I hope you subscribe. Let me know what you love about homeschooling this year. I would love to hear about that as well. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I can't wait to see you again soon. Goodbye.